now to go around the NFL right here on Kap and J Hood. Reminding you, we'll talk baseball with Jesse Rogers coming up at 8:35. Jesse's got a great piece on Shota Imanaga, the Cubs starter, for tonight against St. Louis. But around the NFL on Bob Dylan's birthday, here's Shay Norling. Shay?
Oh, happy birthday, Bob Dylan.
By the way, can I give a shout-out for a birthday? The person I hope can hear me, but I don't. In my heart, I believe she can hear me. My late mother would have turned 91 today.
Of course.
Lila Kaplan, my brother and I talked last night. We toasted you. Love you, miss you dearly. Happy birthday, Mom.
What do you mean, if she can hear you? Of course. You're so loud.
Probably sitting at the coffee table upstairs. I don't mean upstairs.
Seventh floor?
Way up there. Yeah.
Mom, take
with
that.
a cigarette, piece of coffee cake, and coffee. Yes. That's how I choose to remember her.
Cap. Yes, upstairs in heaven, yes. Not the 7th floor.
Oh, Bob and May Hood, so nice to meet you. Our boys are working together. Yes.
Yes.
Would you like a piece of Entenmann's? Yes. That's how I choose to remember my mom and dad.
Yes, and by the way, she is listening. Our parents continue to be our biggest listeners.
Yes.
With Around the NFL, here's Shay Norling. Shay?
All right, I want to start with Dan Campbell. Yesterday was asked if it is Super Bowl or bust for the Lions, and he had this answer.
I don't see bust. I see Super Bowl.
That's all he had to say. He went on to say every team in the league should expect to play for the Super Bowl every season.
I don't see bust. I see Super Bowl. I don't know what the bust is.
All right.
So, it's, here's what I know, man. We all know every team ought to have that.
Thank you, Dan. Every team ought to have that mentality. That's great. He's right. Every team should have that mentality.
Yes.
Us radio losers, we don't need to have that mentality. We can live in a Super Bowl or bust world. So I have in front of me current post-draft power rankings in the NFL. I want to ask you about some of the best teams in this league and if it is indeed Super Bowl or nothing for these teams. We start with Dan Campbell's Detroit Lions. Is it Super Bowl or nothing?
That's a shot. Oh, that's a different segment. But yes. That's exactly what it is. They got to the NFC title game. According to Shea, they gagged, but they lost in that game. And that was a game they should have won. They should have been in the Super Bowl. They're loaded for bear, man. They're good. So, yes, Super Bowl or bust.
Well, hopefully they're not loaded for bear. That's the hope that's not the case.
Well, we're on the other end of the thing. Hopefully their loaded for bear thing doesn't work out the way that they hope.
I would say, Shay, that yes, it's Super Bowl or nothing. I say that, and you know how this works. Usually there's regression. Oh, there's a key injury. What happened there? All that. But I really believe that they built this thing to last, to be a perennial playoff team. But it's about Super Bowl. Super Bowl or bust for Detroit, yes.
49ers, Chiefs, I'm going to bundle together because I think we all would agree Super Bowl or nothing for the 49ers and the Chiefs.
Okay, I agree.
Ravens. Is it Super Bowl or bust for the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson, who has lost a bunch of weight to be more agile? I don't know if he needed to do that, but he did.
Yes, it's Super Bowl or bust.
I would say bust on that end of it.
Wow. I don't think they're going to be great. I'm wondering if you're like a Raven fan or if you are the Ravens, should that be the approach this season? It's Super Bowl or we failed.
It's failure. And Shay, it happens in sports when you can admire an organization and admire a team and admire the head coach and you just say, boy, they're good, but there's always somebody in front of you. I think that's the case for the Ravens. This is not a shot at Lamar Jackson, by the way, because you just don't win by just the quarterback alone. I just think that when they're going to run to a buzzsaw at some point and they will fall short in the AFC to get to their goals. So it's the bust side of the Super Bowl or bust for them.
But if you're a fan of the Ravens, it'd be like, all right, we won another MVP. That would be his third, by the way. Cool. But when are we going to get some team success? Yes. Their coach has been there forever. They've got a really good organization. They got a lot of talent. If they don't win the Super Bowl, their season's a failure.
You know how this works, Cap. You saw this with the Bulls in the NBA championships. They won 6 out of 8 years. There were good teams that could have been champion, but there was always someone in front. In the NFL parlance, we're talking about Patrick Mahomes. and the Kansas City Chiefs. They're in front of everyone.
Let me ask you a question. If you were a Utah Jazz fan back in the 90s,
yeah,
when Bulls were going through their runs, I was there in Salt Lake with Sylvie. I mean, that city is insane for the Jazz, and the fact that the Bulls were able to go in there and get that done was so amazing. If you look back with an elite coach, Jerry Sloan, John Stockton, Karl Malone, the late Mark Eaton, they had a lot of talent on it. Brian Russell, were they failures? Because in my world, they were. That team did not win a title with all that talent. They failed.
Oh, that's correct. Same as the Suns and same as those Sonics teams.
Yes.
Same as the Blazers teams.
Yes.
They were, but what I'm saying is that there's always a ceiling on your success. And with the Baltimore Ravens, with Kansas City still being alive and pumping, I think that stops them. Cincinnati stops them. Teams like that, Buffalo, an opportunity to stop them. I think Baltimore's good, but I think there's always a ceiling with them. So bust for me. Shay?
This next team's interesting to me. The Eagles. Super Bowl or bust. After what happened last year with Sirianni at the end of the season, the Philly fan base wanted him gone with the way that the team, it looked like quit on the field. I actually think it's fair to say, and I rarely say that, but it looked like they quit actively at the end of that season. Is it make it to the NFC Championship game or Sirianni might lose his job? Like, this might be a different level of bust where heads roll because of it.
Well, it depends how you get there. If you tell me that they go 10-7, they get in the playoffs, and they were doing it with their third quarterback. Like, what were the Browns last year, Johnny? 4 quarterbacks?
Yes, 4 quarterbacks, yes.
What Stefanski pulled off was amazing to get them into the playoffs with 4 quarterbacks, one of whom was eating turkey on Thanksgiving with his family and out of the league.
Mm-hmm.
And he won Comeback Player of the Year. That's a joke in and of itself. But, yeah, depends how the Eagles get there. If you tell me they're healthy and they're just middling, yeah, he'll probably get fired.
Yeah, I would say that that's definitely Super Bowl or bust. If it's not this year, the way they played last year down the stretch, in December losing to the 49ers, Dallas, and Seattle, lost to Arizona on New Year's Eve, and the New York Giants, okay? That tells you all you need to know. If they don't turn this around, a team that was destined for the Super Bowl a couple of years ago and to win it, and then they fall short, there's going to be heads rolling. And by the way, I trust Howie Roseman to reimagine the team with a new head coach and get better players in there for them to be a playoff team. But it's either Super Bowl or bust for sure for them.
He did it with Doug Peterson when he axed him.
Yeah.
Went and got Sirianni and rebuilt it. The last one I want to ask you about I think is interesting as well. The Houston Texans. Early arrivals a year ago, go out, make some huge moves this offseason, and now you're in a position where it feels like you should win your division and contend in the AFC. But it feels a little early to go if you don't win the Super Bowl, you failed.
I would say it's not Super Bowl or bust for them. They're growing. The hope is, Cap, is that the Bears are where Houston is right now with their quarterback situation.
Yeah, that would be amazing. How many yards did he throw for last year?
4,200.
So if we're right in that ballpark, it's going to be a hell of a fun year.
Yeah, 4,200 yards for C.J. Stroud.
Let's go.
Nico Collins, tank down, kid.
Pretty good,
Good
kid.
player, man. Tank Dell's awesome.
All right, that's a look around the NFL, Super Bowl or bust. I hope, Shade, that in the next few weeks we can go through a few other teams as well. There's some teams in the middle where you just have to decide, blank or get off the pot.
Yeah, Dallas.
Perfect example, right? What are they? So we got other teams to get to, but we got to get to.
Dallas could take a step.
Nobody asked you. Keep your
Enough.
beak out of it. You and your. I don't want to hear your Dallas opinion about anything. You.
Here come the Cowboys. Cowboys-Bears NFC title game. Let's go.
Yeah, I don't think you want that. How about that?
Why not?
I don't think you want that.
Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he might learn to hate it like I do.
Yeah, I don't think he wants that.
Why would you hate it? You're a freaking
All-
fake Patriots fan.
All right, coming up, Jesse Rogers, the latest of the Cubs and Sox and everything else MLB. That's next on Kap